no reason to make it.
All right, I guess we'll go ahead and get started so we try to get out on time. There might be some people who will see in. There's a sign-in sheet going around, so if you haven't signed the sign-in sheet, make sure you do. Today, basically, what we're doing, this is going to be kind of a relaxed, basically just a conversation about how to redesign a Get Real course. We've heard from a lot of people that everyone's kind of scared about redesigning the course because they think it takes a lot of work to do it. So we're trying to simplify it. So Leslie kind of developed a Get Real Easy course. She just looked at her syllabus and said, I think we can make it a little bit more simple than what we've been telling people it is. So we're hoping what we tell you today is going to make it easier for you and make you more inclined to want to do it. So if you've got any questions throughout, please, this is just an informal workshop, ask questions. What I have done today to show you, this is our resources that we have in the library. If you haven't seen these yet, we have lots of active learning strategies, books from the library you can go check out anytime. These have been great. Also, I have pulled up on the Western Piedmont website. I don't know if you guys know where in the intranet we have under accreditation, which is under academic affairs, we have the Get Real Quality Enhancement Plan. Also up here in the top right corner is the faculty toolkit. I don't know if you guys knew it was there. Let me get it to you. There it is. So if you're wanting ideas on what to do, or you want to read articles on active learning, you want some help in redesigning, developing, trying to figure out a milestone assignment, these are good places to go. Okay? And I'm always available if you just want to email me a question. Anytime you want to go sit in and look at a Get Real class that's going on, they're open and welcome to you coming in and watching what they're actually doing. And they are phenomenal. Let me tell you, I've sat in on all of them, and they are phenomenal. The students are great. I have never seen so many engaged students as I have sitting in on these classes. So I don't have anything else to say. Leslie's going to basically run the workshop today. We've got some Get Real instructors here today. We've got Ian Becker, and we've got Kathy Huffman-Oaks, and then Robert Vasili's going to come in a little bit later. He's in class right now. Those are the people we have today. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you.
So where again did you say on the intranet, when we get on the intranet, just go, what was it to go under, sorry?
You go under academic affairs.
Okay.
Under accreditation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's
Do you want me to
see.
start passing something?
If you will,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and pass things out. And we've got these great resources up here that we've been compiling for a while. But if you get overwhelmed like we often do and don't have time to read it, call Lisa. She's familiar with a lot of this stuff. Very soon we hope to have a QEP mentor in place who will also be able to take some of your calls and answer some of your questions. One of the roles of the QEP mentor will also be to help you develop your Get Real course. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Get Real Easy. We like easy, right? Okay. So the new application is on its way around to you, front and back. And it's actually available in a PDF fillable form that we'll send out to you guys. And you can just fill it in as you're sitting there thinking about what you're going to do. Now, I decided to be a guinea pig and try out the application form, see if it was fairly easy to use. And I submitted a course redesign application for the Ethics and Professionalism course that I teach. Year 3, which is where we're going in the fall, believe it or not, y'all, we're already in for year 3 of this plan. And it's a 5-year plan, so we're over the mountain and getting ready to come back down the other side of it. Year 3 will initiate Get Real Online. So I think Chris is working on developing an online course. I'm working on developing an online course. We've had a couple of years now to kind of work through this thing. and figure out how we could simplify it. Sam, Kathy, Rusty, and Robert have done an outstanding job of creating a 100% active learning course for the particular courses that they are teaching. Kathy and Robert did CIS 110, Sam did Business 110, and Rusty did Psych 150. They have these beautiful, thorough course documents that Lisa has access to, that she can give you a copy of if you want to look at them, but I suggest that you not look at them first. Because you will probably be intimidating, so forget this whole business. What I recommend that you look at first is the course redesign application. We've got, has the checklist gone around yet?
No.
Lisa, let's send that around to you. Look at the course redesign application first. That's the one that you have. Looking at the instructions first, you as the applicant are going to complete both sides of this document. It is a 2-page document, very simple and straightforward. First page identifies who you are, your division, and the specific course that you are going to convert to a Get Real course. We need to know whether it's going to be a face-to-face or an online, so we know how to properly categorize it. We need to know when you plan to implement this course. You'll also notice in section 2, there's a request for workload reduction. Now, with the situation that we're all aware of with budget right now, workload reductions are going to take on kind of a new persona. We can still facilitate workload reductions if your dean is able to shift around personnel, instructional personnel in your division, so that we don't have to actually pay for an adjunct faculty member. So what this says is that when your dean signs this document, if you have requested a workload reduction, which indicates that you have a choice, you don't have to ask for it. When your dean signs this, your dean is indicating that they will either arrange for coverage of this class that will give you your course reduction by another full-time faculty member, or that that course meets acceptable criteria for canceling. You know, sometime, for example, I think when Sam created his first Get Real course, his course load reduction was actually facilitated by the fact that we had low enrollment in the class that he was registered to teach that semester. And because we were able to cancel that class and shift students over, that gave him the course reduction that he needed. So whereas we're not able to come out of pocket to pay adjuncts for this, we do have other means whereby we can try to work out this course reduction. So if you need one, go ahead and ask and talk to your dean about it. Once you complete both sides of this application, and we'll look at them in more detail what's on the second side, you submit it to your dean, who will review it, sign it, and submit the document to our QEP director, who is Lisa. Along with this front and back page application, you need to submit your course document, the current course document, because we are going to build your milestone assignments based on the course learning outcomes. Now here's where we get to the EIEIOs and all these acronyms start flying all over the place. All of you are probably aware that with your course document that we create every semester, we have something called course objectives / learning outcomes. Now in this application, we're calling them CLOs, course learning outcomes. They are contrasted to SLOs, EIEIO, which are the student learning outcomes that we developed under the Get Real plan. Just as a quick reminder, here it comes, Lisa's on the call. When we were creating the Get Real Active Learning Plan, we came up with 4 student learning outcomes that will apply to any course. And this was not an easy thing. This is interdisciplinary, it's interprogrammatic. It's coming around to you right now. Those learning outcomes are, 1, the student will be able to demonstrate an understanding of the expectations of the assignment. That goes to anything. Number 2, student will be able to practice effective time and assignment management. SLO number 3, student will be able to develop new models by synthesizing previous knowledge with new information. And 4, student will be able to assess the value of information learned. So these are the SLOs that are tied to our community. These are what you will connect to your CLOs, the course learning objectives. Now, give you an example from my Ethics and Professionalism course. My course document lists 8 specific course learning outcomes. I selected 3 of those course learning outcomes from my course document that I will use to establish my milestone assignments for the Get Real course. What is a milestone assignment? A milestone assignment is the method that we use of assessing the student's progress toward accomplishing the student learning outcomes. So during the course of the semester, when you run this Get Real course, you will have your students complete 3 milestone assignments. One like week 4, week 8, week 12, something like that, kind of sparsed out between the weeks of the semester. And those milestone assignments are how we assess the success, failure, whatever, of the Get Real plan. That's how we assess whether or not students are demonstrating understanding of expectations, practicing effective time management. So that's the connection there. So what I did was to select 3 of my little 1-sentence course learning outcomes. One was identify and discuss ethical behavior and unauthorized practice of law. Straightforward, straight off my course document. Now I will create a milestone assignment that will go along with that course learning objective. And just as an example, here is what I told Lisa about this milestone assignment. Milestone assignment number 1. Conduct case analysis of the ethical ramifications of the Robert Garrow serial murders. Students love that. That's scary. Robert Garrow's serial murders to interrogate the ethic of client confidentiality. Students will read selections from the book The Moral Compass of the American Lawyer, watch video discussions and read scholarly reviews addressing the ethical situations presented in the case, participate in reflective and responsive discussion board activities, and discuss practical applications of the material. That's not rocket science. You know, it's probably the kind of stuff that you're doing in your classes already. You may or may not have sat down and thought of it in those terms. But that is the assignment then that I will sit down with Lisa, or I will sit down with whoever the QDP mentor is, and we'll figure out how to craft this assignment within the context in which I already teach it to make it fit that milestone assignment. We will figure out together how to match what we are doing in this assignment to the student learning outcomes that we're trying to measure. For example, in doing all those things, how will we measure that the students understand the expectations of their assignment? Well, I've got a different one. I've listed 3. One of them is my capstone assignment. And with that, one of the things I have the students do is to submit a verification of the contents of an e-portfolio that they're going to do for me. And this will be like their 3rd and final milestone. So using something like that may be something I can use to help demonstrate that they understand the parameters of the assignment, the expectation of the assignment. And again, don't get caught up in the how-tos just yet, because that is what the mentor will help you figure out, the how-tos. And again, they'll be working within the context of assignments that you already have and already use. There may be some tweaking or some rearranging that you will be recommended to do to make it fit a little better with the Get Real process, but the assignment is yours. Nobody's going to come in and tell you how to do your assignment. Okay? So with the 3 course learning outcomes that you will identify on page 2, which is the flip side of your application, then you will indicate the milestone assignments that you will use to address those course learning outcomes. Robert made a good point with reference to listing the course learning outcomes. You notice we indicated that you can list 3 or more course learning outcomes, and that's because the assignments that you're using may kind of dip into more than 3 of the learning outcomes that you've listed on your syllabus. Perfectly fine. We just want to be able to, the purpose of this document is to help you map your CLOs to your SLOs. That's all we're doing. We're trying to map the two. We are, at some point then, perhaps the course assessment worksheets that we use may even give you some additional information that can be tied into all of these. One of the goals of this whole process is to tie assessment together across campus and not have the little individual pockets of assessments that we have. One thing I did not mention, if you'll look at the top of page 2, the student learning outcomes are listed in the little boxed area, and immediately under that you will indicate your primary method of active learning delivery. I know like Nadine McGrady uses something called POLA. That was something that she uses a lot with her chem classes. Robert Vasile uses project-based learning. Rusty kind of specializes in group activities. So one thing that was really, really good about this plan was that it did not lock you in to one teaching technique. You can use some project-based learning along with some group activities. Kathy, what do you do in your CIS 110?
I use the project-based learning as well, because
Okay.
we try and keep CIS 110 very
Consistent.
similar across, so all of us are using
The
that.
project-based.
So,
Okay.
you know, other instructors teaching online and teaching these classes, they're pretty close to active learning.
Okay.
Don't even realize it.
Don't even realize they're doing it. What are you using, Sam, for your business 110?
Oh gosh, all sorts of stuff. Interactive lectures, group activities,
You do a lot of
project-based,
team-based.
team-based learning. Yeah, it's. I like to mix it up. Yeah. I like
Okay,
it.
okay. And another point that Kathy kind of pointed us to, now CIS 110, what they do with their classes is all of the CIS 110 instructors work together to build a uniform class that all of them use. That may not be the same with Psych 150. You know, it may not be the same with multiple sections of English 110. So if there are those variations within, you know, you got to meet the course learning outcomes, of course, but if you have those instructional methodological variations, you could apply your favorite form of active learning to English 110. And maybe Gary Adams uses case analysis, and Jane Cantwell uses group activity or some other thing. So that is why when we create a Get Real course, it is specific to the instructor. It is not that once somebody creates a Psych 150, all Psych 150s are Get Real. It is specific to the instructor, and it is specific to the section. Because now when CIS 110 online becomes part of Get Real Online, there will be at least the paperwork, because the course is pretty much an active learning course anyway. There will at least be the paperwork done to verify that CIS 110 online, as taught by Jason Dale, is now a Get Real course. So very much specified, specific to the instructor and the section number. The primary methods of active learning delivery that I listed for mine, and I just looked at what I do with the assignments. Discussion board participation, role playing, reading, writing, reflection, video, website use, case method. One thing to keep in mind if you use the video piece is the whole captioning issue. So as you are creating your videos and preparing them during that semester when you're getting real course ready, ship them on over there to the folks in disability services so they can get permissions and get these things captioned. So we'll be good to go when we get ready for that following semester. Remember in general that the behaviors that we have defined as active learning for purposes of this Get Real are, help me Lisa, discussion and
Reading,
writing, listening, solving problems, and reflecting. I think reflection, those are the 5 things. So thinking about the courses that you're already teaching, you're probably already, they have to read, right? Everybody's got to read something typically. So looking at what you're already doing, you're probably already doing quite a bit of active learning. You just may not have classified it in exactly that way. But that in a nutshell is the application. You as the applicant will fill that out, print it out, attach it to your syllabus, get it to your dean. Your dean will then sign it, get it over to Lisa, who will then start getting all the balls rolling, get everything running in place for you. Now that we've talked about that, have you guys got anything to add to that application?
you want to talk about the process or how it wasn't quite as difficult as you thought it was going to be when you developed your courses?
As you look
Or
at
was
the-
it?
Well,
Leading question.
well, I guess I was the first guinea pig to do it after Robert and
After the pilot course.
Rusty, after the pilot course. And it was scary. I got their course plans, and it was a 30-page document that they wrote up. And it was a little intimidating, don't get me wrong, mainly because they wanted to see every single thing you were doing in detail. So it's basically all your lesson plans out in front of you. The good thing is I had a lot of those already, so I put those in. It's easy for me to go back to now as it is. But now that I've started my second course, the process has simplified. It's totally amazing. It's great. I just sent you, I think, the document for economics. And now that I know the system, I guess, it's a lot easier. And like they were saying, there's so much you're doing in your course right now that is already active learning. And there's so much help behind. Lisa has helped me so much in terms of asking questions. What my course objectives, I think I've called you 1,000 times, making sure that I was right with the course objectives and the milestone stuff. But don't be intimidated by those gigantic course plans, because they'll come eventually. They will. They'll be there. And you'll really use them later on down the road, because I love being able to kind of recycle that every semester now. But I've had nothing but good things to say about the process, and it certainly isn't as scary as learning all these acronyms.
How long upfront time do you need to do the course to be Get Real? Like how far out should we be thinking?
I did my first one, not to jump in, I'm sorry.
Well, no, you go ahead.
I kind of did my first, and I was the last guinea pig to go. And I kind of developed as I went. Because I know when I first got the call from Terry Ollis over the summer, I thought, oh my God, and it was just intimidating all around. But then, like Sam said, the support, Lisa is wonderful. I went and sat in on Sam's class, and what was so interesting is that the students are so involved. You forget that you're in class. And so I remember I was there with my iPad and trying to take notes, and I would forget to take notes because I was involved in the class. And I could think, notes, Kathy, notes, you know. But what is so neat is you're not standing before your class lecturing all the time now. And we don't do that anymore. You know, you are getting those kids, students active in the class, getting them participating, and they appreciate that more. They find that they're learning better, they're retaining this information and having a stronger understanding, don't you think?
I think so. And my experience with it too as well was I developed the whole class ahead of time, but I didn't really need to, because you're already doing it. You're already teaching your material. You've already got what you've done in the past. It's just tweaking the presentation, tweaking how you have the students interact with the lesson you're giving.
I was thinking more in terms of
The paperwork.
Oh, the paperwork.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
Okay, yeah.
I like to get the paperwork in time to review it and say, okay, before early registration, I need to get you on the schedule as this is a Get Real course, because we usually put out there so the students know this is a Get Real course. If you're looking at it now, I haven't listed all the classes that are going to be Get Real for the fall semester yet. I don't even know if I've listed summer yet right now, which I've got to get on that quickly, but just enough time so I can get it hopefully on the schedule for early registration. It doesn't usually take me that long to review, because I'm not really that picky about approving people to be Get Real the first semester, because really, we say you're Get Real the first semester, but there's other documents and forms that we do throughout that first semester to say, okay, you are really actually approved Get Real, you're 100%, because I do a class observation piece that first semester. So, and also,
So you'd be thinking about doing one in the fall.
in the fall, yeah, I know, you've got two,
That's
right?
what
That
it
you're
is.
going to do in the fall?
Two maybe, and then one for sure, spring.
Okay.
Yeah, I just submitted an application yesterday, so I mean, there's, for
Yeah,
fall.
for fall.
Yeah.
And Leslie's, I just got hers too, so we're still
Yeah.
looking, so it's fine.
Now, we will not have course reductions to go along with
We
that.
won't be having
So we got-
And I want everybody to know, don't be afraid that first semester that you do, because I've heard, like Leslie came to me, she said, well, I'm thinking about it, but I think I'll wait till spring, that way I can play with it a little bit in the fall. I said, no. Go ahead and jump in it with both feet in the fall. That way, if things are not quite right and they're messy, it's okay, because the first semester you can be messy, so you can see what needs to be fixed. So by spring, while you still have the same term going on, we can fix it.
And every
Well,
semester
not-
you find your fine tuning.
Yeah, my experience, having done this in the past and in present, getting ready to do one next in the spring, in the fall, is that you'll be always, any class I teach, I'm always
Right.
tweaking
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah.
There's always some assignment that I'm tweaking, something new I'm going to try, and that's the way it is going to be with the active learning. And in fact, there's one technique that's involved in kind of as a way of sort of as a starting point for active learning, particularly if you're going to do discussion. It's called just in time, where it's all about making a plan for that day shortly before the class starts. And you get feedback from the students about what they want you to spend time with, what they're having trouble with. Take a look at, have some questions that they answer so you can see, hey, they're fuzzy on this one and that one, and the activities you planned are going to be based on that, what the students need. In which case, that's, to some extent, your lessons plan are going to have to be very loose
Yeah.
if you're going to use a technique like that. So, yeah, so it's,
Sam's method in developing his class, I thought it was really funny when I went to his office one day to see how he was progressing, and behind his desk are all these Post-it notes. And I said, what is that? He said, that's my lesson plans. Those are all my active learning activities. That's where I've put them. So every time he would think of an activity, he'd slap it up on his wall.
Yeah.
So by the end, he would have his course plan developed. He would just have to.
On Post-it notes.
From his Post-it notes.
Yes.
I used a spreadsheet.
Another idea.
The big difference between this plan, the Get Real Easy model, I think we decided to call it,
Yes.
and what these guys, these brave soldiers had to endure was that you can hit the ground running with 3 milestone assignments, period. You don't have to have the 100% course set up as an active learning thing to get started. Once you get these 3 milestone assignments in place, then you will just move progressively toward including more and more active learning in your course. So you'll basically be starting out with, and all you will ever assess will be those 3 milestone assignments. But you can continue to make active learning modules add into what you'll be doing. And the great thing is that after this is over, we won't have to assess any of it. And you'll have all these wonderful active learning courses that don't have all of these papers attached to them. So what you will do, what we will do from this point forward will be much easier than what our pioneers have had to do. But I think it was valuable to have them do that because it helped us learn how to streamline the process and make it something that would be more appealing to everybody and more doable for everyone.
I have another question about the milestone assignments, and when you're talking about assessing them, are you using grades or points or not, or a combination?
You can do either. You can grade them for yourself. All I want is how it's assessed by the SLO rubric. That's all I get, that's all I keep. So you can give it a grading scale and grade it however you want, but I don't want that. Or you can not grade it at all. Just give it as an assessment with the SLO rubric. Give that to me.
What is your?
Take a look at this. Take a look at this thing here. And what you will do for a student is go through and say, student Jackie, under SLO number 1, was able to demonstrate understanding of the expectations. It was exemplary. Student somebody else had an emerging outcome. They were kind of on the lower end. Somebody else didn't do the assignment at all, so they get a 0. So this will be how you assess for purposes of the Get Real, what you
Right,
submit
but what I
to
want to know
Lisa.
is, are you giving grade, if you guys giving any grades?
We're not giving
Example of-
grades.
Not on the SLOs, but what I've done in my classes is there's an activity we do called Lost at Sea. I'm sure all of us have gone through that. And it's critical decision making is what I'm trying to teach, and different ways to make decisions. They go through the activity and they perform the task, and then I give them a short paper, short essay to write on reflections of the activity. I grade that with my own rubric, what I'm looking for, I give them a grade on it. Then I use this rubric to get a active learning assessment on it. This does not go into their grade at all, but my rubric does, but it's able to, I'm assessing the same assignment. Does that
I'm
make
just
sense?
thinking that students kind of like it when you give them some points or something.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can easily do that as well, yeah.
My experience is that if you want a majority of the students to really do it, you have to put a grade on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is my experience, that
But at
if
the same time-
it is, oh, well, this is to help you understand, this is for practice, there'll be about half of them that will sort of try, and then there'll be another third that'll just sort of, sit there and stare off into space.
It's an
And do somebody
assignment that
else's.
has to be done, but you can assess it however you want to. I just need the assessments
And
for
some could
it.
be for points and some not necessarily, combination.
Well, in developing the online stuff, and what I'm doing, maybe the same for you, Leslie, everything that I do is for points. If it's not worth anything, then I don't have them do it. So all of mine are going to have actual grades for the assignment and then be scored on the actual rubric separate.
And I'd even done in class before, I think one of the classes you were at, we were discussing one of the applications of Microsoft Word, and I want to say it was PowerPoint, and so we went over some neat tips to enhance the presentation, and then at the end, we had a video, and then I asked him to do like a 5-10 minute paper on 3 things that you learned that was new. And then later on in the class, I told them to take about 30 minutes and do their own presentation. And so what they received for all their hard work was whoever did the best presentation in the class that incorporated the new task and everything got 5 extra credit points on whatever assignment they wanted. And you talk about ears, yeah, can I do it on a test? If that's where you want that 5 points to be applied, sure. So, and that was just one example,
It's still your class.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I was worried, and to be totally honest at first, that active learning meant I was going to have to change the way change the stuff I was teaching, change the way my classroom was set up and everything like that. But I'm still doing exactly what I've always done, the only difference is the interactions with the students, the activities that they do to learn the materials a little different.
Same here, just
Yep.
different presentation.
I find it more enjoyable, to tell you the truth. It's when, we all have been through those lectures where you see the little, I call it the dead fish eye, right? Where they're just sitting there bearing it. And in turn, doing an active learning activity where they are discovering something. And there's a little bit of adventure there with them discovering is a totally different experience. And it's an amazing experience as a teacher.
Stacy's creating a game for one of her milestones.
Well, I didn't really create the game. Somebody else created it, but I'm using it, and I'm
tweaking
finding
it.
I'm finding a way of
But it's cool. She showed it to me, and it looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
But anytime you can incorporate a game and have it be an assignment, I mean, how many students are going to say, I don't want to play a game today? Some of them will, of course, but usually they're going to say, oh, okay, we've got a game today, instead of filling out a worksheet or listening to you talk to me.
There's one more document that I think has gone around, this checklist for creating and maintaining a donor. This is your one-page cheat sheet, just to kind of walk you through the easy steps of becoming a Get Real course. The very first section, tasks to be completed before the course begins. These are not mandates. These are things that are suggested to help you kind of get acclimated to active learning and think about it and realize that a lot of what you're doing already is active learning. And it gets you in contact, I think, with some of our assessment tools that we're using. The Get Real plan is on the internet, where Lisa showed you how to get to it. The intranet, where Lisa showed you how to get to it. The second section is Get Real in 5 easy steps, and that is what we've talked about today. At step 3, you will notice you are designated a Get Real course. So halfway through this process, you're actually designated a Get Real course, and then you start to, step 4 is where you're designated a Get Real course, and you go through a little bit of a process with this landscape-oriented document here that's called the Get Real Course Design. Did you give them that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, you don't have that, but I have.
I didn't want to scare them today, totally.
Yeah, you can get access to it on the intranet, or we'll send it to you if you're interested. But really, you don't need to know any details about it at this point, other than to know that there are four categories, and your mentor will work with you to help see where you kind of fall in on this rubric. And then step 5 of the process, I believe, is after you've already been implementing your Get Real course for a while, and then Lisa or a mentor will come in and do a developmental observation with you. The format looks kind of similar to the faculty observation rubric that we all use now for our face-to-face courses. So it's very much that format. But again, it is developmental. It is not something that will be used to say you're a horrible Get Real person. It is something that will just help you see ways that you might be able to tweak it, take it up a little bit higher. So we're trying to make it a friendly and developmental process as much as possible, and much less frightening than it has been in the past.
Retention in these classes has really been good, from what I've seen. So if you want to keep your students in there, this is a good way to do it.
Robert just came in. Robert, would you like to throw anything in? I know you're kind of like, don't even know what we've been talking about, but I thought you might have anything you want to add to our conversation about the process.
No, I think you probably already reiterated the fact that it's not as bad as it looks. It's once you start with the process, and most of the things that the Get Real or the PUP expects you're already doing. It's just a matter of putting it into a different format, a different bucket. So it's not it's not going to be too challenging to do. It's just an opportunity for you as an instructor to try something else. You know, I don't know about you, but I'm at a point in my life when not a whole lot of things are happening. You know, I turned 40, my kids are there. There's a little bit of a routine. So I spent a good chunk of my time here at Western Piedmont. Might as well have fun with it and don't, just follow that track that I've been following for 12 years. A way to have fun personally, to diversify a little bit your experience teaching, and just keep Alzheimer's at bay. Do something different. And that's what it boils down.
That's what we need to change the key milestones.
Exactly. Yeah. Why should you do the key? So we have I'm sure the application process is streamlined. It's very easy. The part that will take some time is to just organize the things that you've been doing into a pattern or a shape or a model that can be applied to the Get Real SLO rubric, because that's the kind of the core of what we're doing. We have this fairly generic rubric that we apply to what we're doing to prove that, hey, the great things that we do can be assessed, can be measured, and we're doing this, and here's the proof. So that's the part that kind of that will take some time, but overall you've done much worse things than this. And so that's the thing to keep in mind, because I think that's one of the greatest barriers. We all have a lot of things to do. We really do, and there's a bunch of administrative stuff, there's things all over the place, but one thing that we're here, that we love to do, and we hope to be doing this, and only this, is teach, right? Just be there and do the thing that you love to do. Well, this is it. This just gives you an opportunity to play with what you love and look at it from a different perspective, with minimal bureaucratic burden. Now, there is some, yes, there's some milestone assignments that were probably mentioned, not the end of the world. There's some artifacts that you need to submit at the end. Again, you've done much worse thing than this. So don't let that deter you from trying it out. And the other advantage, or the other thing to keep in mind, you'll get a chance to spend some time with Sam, or some mentor. Somebody will help you. There will be somebody there to hold your hand if you need to, or to kind of give you the opportunity to spend time with a colleague, working on something together. That's not happening to me. I mean, not that I don't like talking, but you get on your track. You're doing this, and you don't get a whole lot of chance to just be like, hey, let's talk shop a little bit. Let's see how this can work out.
Yeah, I don't think we say enough how supportive this whole process is. And terms of people helping. They're not there to judge you. They're not there to judge your class. They're there to help you find a new way of doing things. And it's a great way to do it.
And as we grow and get real instructors, I want to have more informal sessions like this where we just sit around and brainstorm and say, I'm doing this in my class, it's working out really well. And if somebody says, oh, I think I'm going to try that. So other people you're doing this now and you haven't get real class, but there's other things you can do. So just continually sharing our knowledge with each other to continue on the best practices path.
And the other thing to keep in mind is, I mentioned that this course plan, this magical course plan, it's nothing formal. You already have some type of notes or some way in which you keep your sanity, so you know what's going to happen when you go to class, however that is, whether it's in your head, if you're that good, or on a piece of paper, or on a napkin, however you plan your classes, and luckily we're not in the public school, so we don't have to fill up a form every time we go to class. So whatever informal way of that you have to be, oh, that's what I'm going to do today, we can work with that. I mean, I could show you my course plan. It's messy and it's all over the place, and I love it. It's like sometimes works, some things work, some things don't. Delete, rearrange. You're not tied into anything. It's just, hey, let's outline what we're going to do, and let's see if we can outline what we're going to do, if we can map what we're going to do to this SLO rubric. If we can map our course objectives and the SLO rubric to the assignments to the activities that we plan on doing. And there are many activities. My emphasis is on project-based learning. Small projects, bigger projects, but mostly small, tiny projects, tiny activities, problems, whatever you want to call them. And just going through a bunch of those, have a little discussion throughout. Rusty does a few other techniques. He's a little broader, and I'm sure Sam has already probably talked to you about his approach. But the active learning is such a broad term that we can make everything fit. Let's put it that way. We can make everything fit. It's as long as we kind of we look at it and it's gets our course objectives across, gets our students engaged, interested, and we've had great feedback from our students about what we're doing and doing things differently, and just moving away from the traditional model of delivering education. The lecture is not to become lecture.
You can actively lecture too.
Yep.
There, some of the textbooks over here talk about how to do an active lecture. So if you still like to lecture, you can do it actively.
And research is showing now that, and I think our plans for redesigning this space reflect this as well, that, students don't learn exactly the same way they used to learn, sitting with the sage on stage. They're more into collaborations and more active engagement types of things. So this fits right along in with it. Another benefit, I think, of this process is that it answers a need that faculty has expressed for years to be able to work collaboratively together, to have a space where you can sit down and talk about, this is what I'm doing, and you ought to try that, or have you thought about this? So it makes that opportunity available.
Yes, with the, can we talk about when they do the construction, when we get to move to the library? Sandy, you want to talk about the room? Because it's kind of your room. You got to design.
Well, a lot of the design elements we're putting into the renovation of the LRC up here are revolving around the active learning concept, especially collaboration between students. We'll have a couple of rooms right across the hall here where they are going to be specifically what I love to call the high-tech collaborative rooms, where I think we're going to put whiteboards on every wall, It's going to be standing desks, I believe, right?
No, I think they're gonna leave the tables.
Or the tables, but round tables, so they're around those. So students will be free to write on the walls. Students will, put presentations up on every wall that were in there. It's taking the idea of the sage on the stage, one person in front, the students are looking at it, and kind of flipping it on its head, where now the entire space that we're in is a learning space. And it kind of makes, to me, it makes it a lot more exciting that the students will be doing a lot of the presenting and a lot of the presenting the materials they're learning in spaces like that. And even the library itself, outside of those classrooms, are going to utilize collaborative workstations. They're going to have areas where students can get together in small groups and talk about ideas, talk about projects they're on, and be comfortable. I mean, how many of us would love to be in a meeting where we're actually in comfortable seats talking to each other? So I'm really, really excited about some of these Get Real spaces that are coming to campus. And it's going to be on a, you sign up for the room and you've got it for that time. So it's going to be a great space. Did I cover it?
Yes, yeah, that's what I wanted them to hear. You can reserve the room, so if you're gonna do an activity that day that involves maybe getting together in groups or doing team-based learning that day, but you say, we're gonna meet over in LRC 120, and everybody can have markers, and you can write on the walls, and we're thinking we're gonna get a touch screen computer screen in there
Monitor
for
maybe.
the faculty member to use to maybe show the lecture and get it started, whatever's going to be done that day, and lead the class.
And hopefully also be able to, if we need to update technology, as technology changes, it'll be real easy to change it in that room. There'll be laptops available for, and iPads available for checkout for those classes. It's going to be really nice.
Anybody have any questions? Is everybody ready to turn into a Get Real class? Like you can go do it in like 10 minutes, you can fill out the form and have it back to me, and I'll have 10 waiting in my box when I get back to my office.
Where can they find that form online?
I don't have it online yet, but I'm gonna email David and see if they'll put it, I think what we'll do is just put it on the internet, because that's the easiest place for everybody to get to. And do you mind if we like put a watermark on yours with a sample pictures up there too for people to look at?
You use mine.
Okay.
Several.
Okay, well then I'll have a sample of Sam's and Leslie's up there so you can look at it.
Have we made maybe a group on Moodle as well? Creating a group where we could have, put our resources
Yeah, Get
and
Real
links
Doodle.
and discussion boards for,
Well, I've asked about that and they didn't really want us to do anything in Moodle. They wanted to shoot everybody toward the internet. They wanted Moodle to be more like housed for courses.
okay. I thought, with the discussion, that might be useful for us to ask questions of each other and that sort of thing.
Maybe we could add like Google Docs or something on there where you can edit.
We have tools like that we can put on the intranet. In the past, the LMS here was used for everything from faculty training to faculty resources to the whole gamut of stuff. And we want to get the LMS back to classes and class materials and the intranet for our interacting with our professional. So we can add the other tools to it that you find in Moodle, but we want to keep those even, and I know like the faculty handbook on how to use Moodle, and I know there's a lot of stuff that's still in there, but we want to try to create a line and divide those so that instructional stuff is here and then faculty and staff resources are over here.
Faculty Toolkit actually has a blog on it for people to sign up and we can share ideas, but nobody was using it, so we decided to kind of try to change it, which we haven't yet, but maybe we could figure out some kind of Google Docs or another conversation piece. Let's try to get people involved with it. We'll look into that. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Thank you for coming, I appreciate it.